guys, my name is Em and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video it is going to be a cozy autumn TBR video. These are all of the books that I plan on reading in spooky season. I'm very excited for spooky season. Honestly, this is just the coziest, most atmospheric couple of months. I have quite a few books here. This is a TBR video of course, but also it's kind of a book recommendations video because all of these books are kind of spooky, cozy, atmospheric, thrillery, dark books, and hopefully you might get some recommendations from it. So let's get into it. I have actually made this fairly ambitious but also hopefully very achievable because I do want to be realistic with the books that I'm going to read, but also I feel like I can read all of these. I'm very excited. Also, please do let me know down in the comments if you have read any of these, if you want to read any of these, or most importantly if you have any other spooky recommendations for me, because of course I'm probably going to be buying some more spooky books throughout the season because you never have enough, really. So without further ado, let's get into the TBR. Okay, these are all the books. That is a colossal amount of books. Okay, so let's get into it. None of these books are in any particular order or anything. I am planning on reading maybe a couple of romances in between or historical fiction, but the only books that I've put on this TBR that are for certain going to be read by me through the months of September, October are these spooky books. So the first book on this TBR is actually my current read and I'm hoping to finish it fairly soon, and it is A Dowry of Blood. This has been recommended to me so many times by different booktubers and I finally caved and bought it, and I'm very excited to read this. So this is a lyrical and dreamy reimagining of Dracula's Brides. I don't have a huge amount of knowledge about Dracula or Dracula's Brides, and I am actually annotating this book. I feel like this is a perfect book to annotate because there's so many amazing passages. I am quite liking this already, even though I don't really know how it's going to end because I don't know the story of Dracula's Brides, even though I definitely should at this stage. And this is very, very short, so if you're looking for a kind of gothic atmospheric book, then this is the one for you. Okay, I feel like the next one is on everybody's TBR or recommendations for this time of year, and I am no exception to that because I am nothing if not a basic booktuber. But of course it is The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is a series that I've wanted to read for a long time, like a long time. I bought this book back in 2019. I started it, I got really scared because of Naughty John, and then I stopped reading and put it down. But I feel like I've come a long way since 2019 and I feel like I could handle it now. Plus Very Loot are doing really stunning editions and I want to read the first book just to see if I'm like absolutely obsessed with it. Probably not going to get them anyways, but you never know. This takes place in 1920s New York with our main character Evie, who is sent to her uncle's house in New York after causing too much trouble back home because she's constantly going out partying and drinking and things like that, which realistically, do you send her to New York if you want her to stop going out? No, but she has the power that when she touches an object she can see the history of the object, and then there's like this spirit going around committing crimes or killing people, so then I think she needs to like team up with this group of people and stop the crimes or solve the crimes, something like that. I'm not 100% certain, but it definitely looks very good. It is 1920s New York. We're in the 2020s, definitely a little bit different than the 1920s, but nonetheless I'm very excited for the vibes and just the whole series, and I know this is so many people's favorite series, so I can't wait to get to it. So the next one is not necessarily a spooky book, but it definitely has that kind of darker vibe to it. I think it would be perfect for this time of year. So it is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I have had this book for a very long time and I've always heard people talking about it, but I'm slightly intimidated by it because of the size. It is quite huge. However, I saw Books with Chloe's latest 24-hour readathon and she read the whole thing in one day. She was absolutely captivated by it. It had all the magical kind of dark circus vibes, and I definitely feel like this is perfect for this time of year. If I don't get to it in September, October, I will definitely be reading this kind of closer to Christmas time because it definitely gives me those winter months atmosphere. I don't know why, but this is about a circus and it disappears in the daytime and it's only there at nighttime, and there's magical things. I think there's like a competition between our two main characters. I could be so wrong about that, but that is what I picked up and I'm very excited to read it. So next up I have a fairly popular book and it is Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I've actually heard quite mixed things about this book, that some people really love it and think it's the perfect gothic book, and then some people think that it is just really gross, and I've heard that if you like mushrooms you won't like mushrooms at the end of this book, and that concerns me because I do really like mushrooms. I'm quite happy liking mushrooms. So this takes place in 1950s Mexico, and this girl gets a letter from her cousin saying that her husband is like keeping her captive or something, or doing something to her. So naturally our main character goes to their house, which is like a big old mansion, I'm fairly sure, and the wife is like, no, like everything's completely fine, but something is a little bit sus. So I think she stays there, and definitely some weird things happen. This is definitely more of a horror than a thriller, but I'm excited because I feel like it's not gonna be too scary. Speaking of a little bit scary, the next one that I have is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I've read a few Riley Sager books now, and I actually do really like his writings. It just seems so intriguing. It's about this girl who gets this job opportunity that seems too good to be true, to house sit this really fancy apartment for a lot of money and a lot of perks, but there's too many rules. So her rules are like, she can't leave the house, she can't have anybody over in the house, she cannot talk to anybody in the apartment complex. It's like a complex where famous people live, and then people start going missing, but nobody's kind of like recognizing the fact that that's happening except our main character. I think it's one of these books that you're kind of like, is this supernatural or is this just someone messing with people? We don't know. Speaking of Riley Sager, I don't have my physical copy yet, but also on this TBR is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. It is his newest release. I think it's about this girl who like gets into a car with a stranger, really fucking bad idea, and then he turns out to be a killer, or maybe she's a killer, someone's a killer, and it's kind of like, will she survive the night type of situation. I'm sure it has more elements than that, but that is what I perceived, and I cannot wait to read it. I can't wait for my copy to come, and yeah, it's gonna be amazing. So while we're on the topic of books that I want to read that I don't have the copy of, the other one that I want to read is The Nature of Witches. This is a YA book about witches who all have an element. It's to do with like seasons, and their job is like to keep the seasons and the weather in check, to do everything that they can. And I know this book touches a lot on climate change, and it's about what happens when these seasons are kind of out of whack and things are happening, and the witches kind of need to try and fix it. And then our main character is an ever witch or something, where she has control over all of the seasons, and there is a romance in here as well, which I'm very excited about. It just seems like the perfect witchy book. Okay, so now we're kind of going into some dark academia-esque books and a lot of darker books, which I'm very excited about as well, and I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so this next book is absolutely stunning, and it is The Devil Makes Three by Tori Bovalino, and I'm very excited to read this. Just look at these edges, the end papers, this. It's like a book kind of a thing. Oh, literally stunning. So as far as I know, this is about a few friends, I think it could be two friends or maybe a group, and they accidentally summon a devil out of a book in this like elite school, and the devil is then like making them do things or like trying to get revenge or something, and it just sounds like the perfect dark academia, really spooky book, and I cannot wait to read this. I think I'm gonna buddy read this with Lucy because she really wants to read this book as well. I love books about books, and this definitely is a book about books. Okay, so the next one is one that I'm unsure if I'll get to, because I was in the mood to read this a couple months ago and I said I would wait for spooky season, but now I've kind of heard a couple mixed reviews and I'm not certain if I'm in the mood for it anymore. Misty's gonna, yeah. You want me to get the blanket? There you go. I've put the blanket out for her. And that book is Ace of Spades. So this is kind of a Gossip Girl meets Get Out kind of book. It is a dark academia book that takes place in a boarding school, and we have a lot of topics on race in here, and sexism, and possibly homophobia, but I think mostly privilege and things like that, which is amazing to have in a thriller book. And this basically is about like these students who maybe they've done something, maybe they haven't, but they're kind of receiving threats in a Gossip Girl format that's kind of like giving out their secrets, which also kind of reminds me of Pretty Little Liars, and I'm very excited. Misty has settled behind me, by the way. Love that. Is it even a video of mine if Misty doesn't make some appearance? Okay, so the next one is one that I was so close to reading last year and I never got a chance to, and it is Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. I physically cannot wait to read this book. This is a YA book about this group. They accidentally summon a ghost, I think, or a demon of this guy who has been murdered, and they need to solve his murder in order for like his soul to rest. But what I really love about this book is that our main character is trans, and it kind of deals with a lot of the topic as well, and about being accepted by a family, and it's a very traditional family, but it seems like it also kind of has found family, and I cannot wait to read this. Bisma actually just bought this book, so I definitely think we're going to buddy read this very soon. I cannot wait. Besties, we're nearing the end of this. There's 3 books left and I'm very excited for them all. So the next one is a dark kind of fantasy romance book, and it is Kingdom of of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco. I actually started this book back in May and then realised it's definitely a book for a darker season. I have heard so much about it. The sequel is coming out in November, so I definitely do want to have it read before then. This is a fantasy book, two twin sisters particularly, who have been brought up by their grandmother to have all of these rituals and things to get rid of the demons and to stay on the like bright side of magic, not the dark side of magic, until one of the sisters ends up getting murdered because she dabbled in dark magic. And then this book is basically the other twin sister's descent into trying to avenge her sister's death, and she may call upon the Prince of Hell, which she has always been told not to call on the Wicked, but she calls on the Wicked because she wants to avenge her sister's death. There's a romance in here. I'm not saying I want a prince from hell, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. We're damaged, you know, what can I say? And the next book is another Kerry Maniscalco book, and it is Hunting Prince Dracula, and I'm very excited. This is the second book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, which I read earlier this year and absolutely loved. I thought it was amazing. Thomas Cresswell, my feminist icon. Love him. And this is the second book. I'm pretty sure this takes place in Romania, and I'm very excited to read this. I do actually want to finish this whole series. There's 3 more books, but they are very thick books, so I would be happy if I just got this one finished. Okay besties, this is the last book of this video. Oh no, there's 2 left. So the next one is Lake's Edge, which is a horror book, and let's look up the synopsis. Okay, are you ready? Because this gives me, what's it called, The Haunting of Bly Manor vibes, which I watched and loved. I did get so scared, but I loved it. So this says, a lush gothic fantasy about monsters and magic set on the banks of a cursed lake. Perfect for fans of Naomi Novik and Bridget Kemmerer. There are monsters in the world. When Violetta Gracing arrives at the haunted Lake's Edge estate, she expects to find a monster. She knows the terrifying rumours about Rowan Sylvanen. There's a romance. Oh. Not me simping about this man, and then the next sentence is, who drowned his entire family when he was a boy. We don't stand that. But neither the estate nor the monster are what they seem. There are monsters in the woods. As Lita falls for Rowan, she discovers he is bound to the Lord Under, the sinister death god lurking in the black waters of the lake, a creature to whom Lita is inexplicably drawn. There's a monster in the shadows, and now it knows my name. To save Rowan and herself, Lita must confront the darkness in her past, including unraveling the mystery of her connection to the Lord Under. But yeah, that just sounds really good. Definitely gothic. I think that will be like my Halloween read, because I think it will probably be the scariest of this bunch. Maybe not, I don't know. But I definitely kind of read a really scary book on Halloween and tend to do a readathon. Maybe I'll actually have plans this year. Maybe I won't. Probably won't. So now moving on to the very last book of this video, and I am so excited because this is kind of a dark academia book, I think. Honestly, I've read so many reviews of this book, I've seen so many people talk of this book, and I only have like a bare grasp of what it's actually about. This book is The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake, and this is apparently about kind of like a secret society group of friends, and it also has illustrations in the book. Tell me you wouldn't fall in love with this. Like, you would. So I think this deals with something to do with the Library of Alexandria, and then there's this like competition or trials to become the protector or the guardian of the library. Perfect, kind of like the dark, competitive, academic rivals, library-esque vibe, and I love it. I cannot wait to read this, and I'm actually going to buddy read this with Soph as well, which I'm very, very excited about. So yeah, that is my TBR. Very excited about literally all of these books. They all seem so incredible, and I cannot wait to get to them. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this video, what videos you would like to see from me during the spooky season, because I am planning on filming a couple videos because this is my favorite time of year to film things. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you're currently reading, what spooky book you're excited to read this spooky season. Comment the ghost and the pumpkin emoji if you watched to the end. So that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Stay amazing, stay kind, stay spooky, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.